What narcissists really do when you stop talking to them. Have you ever cut off communication with someone who thrives on constant attention, only to wonder what exactly goes through their mind when you stop talking to them? If you've ever had the misfortune of dealing with a narcissist, you may have experienced the unnerving silence that follows when you attempt to distance yourself. At first, it might feel like a victory, a moment of peace where you've managed to reclaim your own space. But what happens to the narcissist when you stop talking to them? What do they really do behind the scenes? The truth is far more complex and unsettling than you might expect. In this video, we'll dive deep into the behaviors, tactics, and emotional responses that narcissists experience when they're faced with your silence. From their desperate attempts to regain control to the inner turmoil they often try to hide, understanding what happens when you stop talking to a narcissist can be both eye-opening and incredibly useful for anyone dealing with them. So, if you've ever wondered what goes on in the mind of a narcissist after you go silent, keep reading to uncover the truth behind their actions and their emotional landscape. Alright, before we dive deep into this topic, if you're enjoying the material so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might be struggling with a narcissist in their life. Trust me, this is one of those topics that everyone needs to understand, especially if you're dealing with a person whose behavior seems erratic, manipulative, or downright toxic. You don't want to miss what's coming next. So, let's begin by addressing one of the most important questions. What happens to a narcissist when you stop talking to them? You might think that they'll just move on, find someone else to dominate, or continue with their lives, but the reality is far more complicated. Narcissists are deeply insecure individuals, and their behavior often reflects a desperate need for external validation. When you cut them off, when you refuse to give them the attention they crave, they experience a sense of loss that goes much deeper than most people realize. Unlike someone with a healthy sense of self, a narcissist relies on others to affirm their value and existence. So when you stop talking to them, they're not just losing a conversation, they're losing the very validation that fuels their sense of superiority. What happens in the narcissist's mind? When you stop talking to a narcissist, the first thing they'll likely experience is a sudden wave of panic. This is because, for a narcissist, silence is often perceived as rejection or abandonment. They can't stand being ignored or left out, as it challenges their carefully constructed sense of importance. Their need to be the center of attention, to constantly be admired or feared, is at the heart of their emotional turmoil. And when you pull away, it shatters the illusion of control they worked so hard to maintain. You might notice that narcissists react in one of two ways. They either become obsessively fixated on regaining your attention, or they lodge a full-scale attack on you in an attempt to provoke a response. The reason for this dual reaction lies in their fragile egos. A narcissist's sense of self-worth is entirely built on external validation. When you stop engaging, their inflated sense of superiority takes a hit, and they often feel as though they're losing the grip they've had on you. The narcissist's first reaction: a wave of panic. For a narcissist, your silence is not just uncomfortable, it's terrifying. The first thing they'll likely do when you stop talking to them is to try to figure out why. They will spend an enormous amount of time analyzing the situation, often turning the blame inward while also projecting it onto you. In their mind, they might tell themselves, "How could they leave me? I'm too important to be ignored." This creates a paradox. They desperately want you to come back, but they also struggle with feelings of entitlement and arrogance that make it difficult for them to admit any wrongdoing or vulnerability. The internal conflict is one of the most challenging aspects of a narcissist's psyche. They might initially reach out with a message, phone call, or even an in-person confrontation. But instead of being straightforward about how they feel, since narcissists often lack the emotional maturity to express vulnerability, many will disguise their anxiety by launching a barrage of manipulative tactics. They might accuse you of overreacting, or try to gaslight you by insisting that you've misunderstood the situation. In some cases, they may even pretend to be indifferent, hoping that you will come back to them out of sheer curiosity or the need to win their affection once again. Manipulation and control. How narcissists try to regain power. Narcissists are known for their manipulative tactics, and when you stop talking to them, they will often ramp up their efforts to regain control over the situation. They know that in order to get your attention, they have to provoke some kind of emotional response from you. This might come in the form of guilt-tripping, making you feel responsible for their distress, or even leveraging past favors or vulnerabilities against you. They might say things like, "I can't believe you would do this to me after everything I've done for you," in an effort to make you feel as though you owe them. But the truth is, narcissists rarely care about your well-being. They are simply trying to restore their own image and position of power. They want to remind you of how important they are in your life and how difficult it will be to live without them. Their goal is not reconciliation or resolution, but to re-establish the dominance they once held over you. They may also try to create chaos in your life, whether it's spreading rumors about you, turning friends or family members against you, or even trying to stir up drama in your social circles. The idea is to keep you on your toes, emotionally exhausted, and always thinking about them. This is how they maintain control, even when they're not physically present. The narcissist's ultimate fear: losing their source of validation. When you stop talking to a narcissist, they are confronted with one of their greatest fears: losing their source of validation. Narcissists are often afraid of being insignificant, irrelevant, or invisible. Without constant admiration and external approval, they feel as though they cease to exist in the way they've always known themselves. Your silence, in their mind, is a direct challenge to their identity. They may fear that without you, they will be exposed for the fragile, insecure people they truly are. This fear often leads to desperation. The narcissist may try to appear as though they've moved on, but deep down they are constantly watching, waiting, and plotting ways to re-enter your life. They might act as though they no longer care, but this is just a facade. What's happening beneath the surface is a complex emotional reaction: frustration, anxiety, and deep-seated panic. What happens next? The narcissist's cycle of pursuit and withdrawal. Eventually, the narcissist may go through a cycle of pursuit and withdrawal. After realizing they can't immediately regain your attention, they might retreat, convinced that they need to make you miss them. They will often use the no-contact period to try and manipulate you from the sidelines through indirect messages, social media posts, or even mutual connections. They'll use these tactics to appear unaffected, all while hoping you will eventually break down and return to them. In some cases, if the narcissist realizes they've lost control permanently, they might escalate their behavior even further. This could involve engaging in smear campaigns, attempting to destroy your reputation, or turning others against you. It's all about reasserting their dominance and restoring their sense of self-importance. So, what do narcissists really do when you stop talking to them? They panic, manipulate, and ultimately try to reassert their power over you. They cannot handle being ignored or rejected because it forces them to face the reality of their insecurities. But by understanding these tactics, you can be better equipped to protect yourself from their emotional manipulation. If you're dealing with a narcissist, remember that your silence is your power. You don't need to engage with their chaos or fall into their traps. By maintaining your boundaries, you regain control of your own life, and ultimately, the narcissist will lose. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with anyone you know who may be dealing with a narcissist. It's important to spread this knowledge and empower others to protect themselves from toxic relationships. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you deserve respect, peace, and understanding in every relationship you have. A narcissist's end game. What to expect. Have you ever been swept off your feet by someone who seemed almost perfect, only to find yourself questioning their motives as time went on? In the beginning, everything feels enchanting. The narcissist, with their charm and charisma, may seem like the ideal partner or friend, offering you all the attention, praise, and admiration that you've been longing for. The relationship feels intoxicating, and you're convinced that you found someone special, someone who truly values you. However, as time passes, you begin to notice subtle changes. The compliments start to feel hollow, the emotional connection weakens, and you find yourself wondering if the narcissist truly cares about you at all. If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, you may have found yourself asking, what happens when their charm fades? What is their true end game, and how does it unfold? This is the reality for many people who have been in close relationships with narcissists. While narcissists can initially be captivating, their relationships often follow a predictable and disturbing pattern. The truth is, narcissists don't form relationships in the same way healthy individuals do. Their end game is typically focused on maintaining their sense of superiority and control, while constantly seeking validation from others. But when that validation begins to fade, and their carefully constructed image begins to crumble, the narcissist's behavior shifts dramatically. So what exactly happens when a narcissist feels threatened, or when their image is no longer reinforced by others? The answer lies in understanding the psychology of narcissism and how it manifests in the narcissist's pursuit of power, control, and admiration. Before we dive deeper into this, let's take a moment to reflect on what we're really discussing today. What happens when the narcissist's mask starts to crack and they begin to show their true nature? In this video, we'll explore everything from the early stages of the relationship to the eventual unraveling of the narcissist's facade. You'll discover exactly what to expect when dealing with a narcissist in various settings. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even a workplace dynamic. And most importantly, you'll learn what the narcissist's true end game is, and how you can protect yourself from their manipulative tactics. If you're ready to explore the complexities of narcissistic behavior and uncover the truth behind their motives, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from this important information. Now, let's break it all down and see how a narcissist's behavior evolves over time and why they behave the way they do when their control over others begins to slip. The beginning. Love bombing and idealization. In the initial stages of a relationship with a narcissist, you may feel like you've found the person of your dreams. Narcissists are known for their ability to charm and captivate their targets. This phase is known as love bombing, where they shower you with affection, flattery, and attention, making you feel like you're the most important person in the world. The narcissist feeds off your admiration and validation, basking in the glow of the attention they are receiving. During this phase, they often present a carefully curated version of themselves, a version that aligns with what you want in a partner, friend, or colleague. Narcissists are experts at reading people and figuring out what you want or need in a relationship. They'll mirror your desires and needs, making you feel understood and special. However, this idealization is not about love or genuine connection. It's about control. They're setting the stage for you to become emotionally dependent on them, so they can continue to extract admiration, validation, and praise. The narcissist's end game during this phase is clear: to hook you into their web, making it nearly impossible for you to see the reality of their true nature. This perfect image they project is only a facade, and once they've successfully gained your trust and admiration, they will begin to devalue you. The devaluation phase, the shift in behavior. After the narcissist has captured your attention and established emotional control, the relationship begins to shift. This is where the devaluation phase kicks in. The behavior you once thought was so charming now starts to feel manipulative and draining. The narcissist's constant need for validation starts to demand more and more from you, and when you don't comply, or when your attention is no longer solely focused on them, they begin to lose interest. In this phase, you may find yourself walking on eggshells. The narcissist begins to criticize you more, belittle your achievements, and make you feel inadequate. They might withdraw their affection or attention, leaving you confused and emotionally unmoored. This is all part of the narcissist's plan to maintain control over you. They want to keep you in a position where you feel like you are constantly working to earn their approval and affection. The devaluation phase is not about the narcissist being mean or cruel out of nowhere. It's part of their strategy. They are trying to regain the upper hand. They want to ensure that you are always seeking their validation and approval. When they see you pulling away or no longer catering to their needs, they will push you down emotionally to reinforce their power. This behavior is designed to keep you hooked, making you doubt yourself and your worth. The narcissist's fear of rejection. What happens when you start to pull away? As the devaluation phase progresses, the narcissist may start to feel threatened. They are no longer receiving the attention or admiration they once did, and this threatens their fragile sense of self. A narcissist's ego is built on external validation. Without it, they feel worthless and exposed. As you begin to pull away, set boundaries, or distance yourself from them, their fear of rejection intensifies. A narcissist's worst fear is being abandoned or ignored. They rely on others to maintain their self-esteem, and when you stop giving them the validation they crave, they may react in various ways. Some narcissists may attempt to manipulate the situation by playing the victim, trying to make you feel guilty for not meeting their needs. Others may lash out in anger, using verbal or emotional abuse to try to regain control. What the narcissist is really doing during this time is trying to manipulate you back into their web. They are testing the boundaries you've set and seeing how far they can push before you relent. If you continue to resist, they may escalate their tactics, shifting from manipulation to outright aggression. The narcissist's goal during this phase is simple: to regain their position of control over you. The end game: discard and hoovering. Eventually, when a narcissist no longer feels they can control you or extract the validation they once did, they may discard you. This is the final stage of the relationship, where the narcissist may cut ties or push you away, often in a cold and callous manner. The discard phase can be deeply painful, as it's often sudden and without any explanation. The narcissist may claim that you're no longer valuable to them, or that they no longer need you in their life. However, the discard phase is rarely the end of the story. Narcissists often engage in a tactic called hoovering, which is when they try to suck you back into the relationship or situation after you've been discarded. They may reappear, seemingly offering reconciliation, affection, or promises of change. This is a calculated attempt to regain the control they lost. The narcissist hopes to reignite the cycle of validation, attention, and emotional dependence, ensuring that they are once again at the center of your life. This behavior can be especially confusing for victims of narcissistic abuse because the narcissist's actions don't follow a logical or predictable pattern. Their end game is about control, power, and maintaining their sense of superiority, nothing more, nothing less. Once you are no longer of value to them, they discard you without remorse. However, if you show any signs of vulnerability or weakness, they may try to reel you back in for the same cycle to repeat itself. What to expect when you recognize the end game? When you begin to recognize the narcissist's tactics and understand their end game, you may experience a sense of clarity. You'll start to see through the manipulation and realize that their affection and attention were never genuine. This is the turning point when you can begin to take control of your own emotions and actions. The key is to stop seeking their validation. Narcissists thrive on your dependence, so the more independent and emotionally stable you become, the less power they have over you. Recognizing their end game allows you to stop playing their game altogether. If you've made it this far, you now have a better understanding of what narcissists are really after and what you can expect when their true nature comes